So we have everything prepped. I did not show you my knife cuts. Remember, you guys are doing 3 recipes, so it's really best to have everything mise en place out, measured, and ready to go. So I'm actually going to start with the rice first because the rice can cook and then it can sit on the stovetop and stay warm. And I'm going to do the fish next, and then we'll finish with the broccoli. So I'm just going to show you. Look over my shoulder. I have everything already out. I even have my pan ready to go. So let's go ahead and move over to the stove. Remember, you've got 2 bouillon cubes. They're vegetable. Either you've got the vegetable packet or you got the bouillon cubes. I just microwaved 2 cups of water, and you want to dissolve that. Okay? So you want to have everything ready to go. Let's move over to the stove and start the rice. So for the rice, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and use my medium sauce pot. I already have the flame warmed up, and I'm going to use my larger pot for my broccoli. So in here first, you want to add the oil or the butter, just enough. I think it says a tablespoon. And what we're going to do is go ahead and start by cooking that 1/4 cup of onion. So I'm actually on a medium-high heat. On my stove, that's a 6, okay? And I've also gone ahead and I've started to preheat my oven for the fish. So let's go ahead and allow the onions to cook just a little bit. Make sure my broth is diluted, and I have we're going to use basmati as a long grain rice. But again, pilaf is a method. It is not a type of rice. It is basically means the cooking method that we're doing. So you could do this with a regular white long grain. You could do it with jasmine. You could do it even with a wild rice. Some pilafs do have small bits of pasta in it. I don't do that in mine. I just use the rice, add the sauteed onion with the rice, and then the flavored either chicken. You could do beef. We're going to use vegetable stock. Vegetable stock works well because, again, we're doing a fish today. So let's let this finish cooking a little bit longer, and I'll show you the next step. So the the onion is just started to get a little bit of color on it, and I can see my pan is hot. So I'm going to now go ahead and add my 1 cup of rice, and I'm going to toast those in the fat as well and mix the onion in. And I'm going to go ahead now and turn down the heat because my pan is really hot. If I add that vegetable stock in there, it's going to steam up and boil and spat everywhere, which it still might do that a little bit, but I don't want it too much because we're going to cook this rice on a low heat anyways. So I can actually start to smell that basmati. It has that really nice little floral smell. And I'm starting to see some of the rice grains change a little bit of color. So I have my lid ready. I have my spoon. Make sure my stock, again, it's still the 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. Go ahead and add it. Add it quickly. It's going to cool that pot down very quick. Awesome. Give it 1 little stir. Make sure all the rice is in. Cover the lid. And again, turn it down to a low. That means it's going to come up to a 2. And I'm actually going to just go ahead and set a timer for 15 minutes. And let's move on over to the fish. So I told you I've gone ahead and already done a lot of the prep work. So you had 2 scallions. I cut these again really nice and fine on the bias. This is going to be for the garnish. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this in the refrigerator for later. Went ahead and bought a couple extra pieces of fish. the sauce recipe that you have is enough to at least make for 4 or even possibly 5 pieces of fish. So up to you if you want to go ahead and make the whole entire sauce recipe. I've given you enough to do that. What you need to go ahead and do now is I did it in, happens to have a little bowl that happens to have a little measuring, oven's hot, a little measuring cup on the side. And I just added the honey right into here without having to dirty another bowl. Or, you know, you guys are getting up to the point you should be able to measure, kind of eyeball a good amount of the honey. So I did measure then the soy sauce. I happen to have the rice vinegar. I don't remember if I'm giving it to you or not. I'm going to try the sesame seed oil, some cracked black pepper, my ginger. Now I'm going to tell you a neat story with that ginger. You guys are going to get a big chunk of it. And I've told you before, keep your ginger, right? Anything you have extra, put it in a little Ziploc bag and freeze it. And when I do freeze it, I leave it with the skin on, okay? Then right before, I just shave a little bit of the skin off, which is what I did here. And then I used my microplane or my zester, and it's like ginger ice. And I just use a little bit more, and you can even put it on fresh fruit. You can shave it over dessert, or even, you know, what I keep it in the freezer for when I want to do fresh vegetables or something like fried rice. So ginger's in here. And I didn't provide for you, but it's optional. I put a little bit of that sriracha. I used the chili garlic. I used a little less than a teaspoon. Again, depends on your heat level. So, wanted to show you guys. What do you notice? We have these brand new cutting boards. So, we're working with fish. We're going to make sure, even though my fish is on a plate, but when I opened it, I'm using my fish cutting board. But let's go ahead and get this packaged and ready for the oven. So, what we're starting with is some sort of sheet pan. It could be a baking dish, whatever you have. And you need 2 really big pieces of foil. So go a little bit bigger than what you're thinking. So you're going to do one the width of the pan, and then you're going to cross it over and do one the other direction. Okay? Then, keep my hands clean. You're going to take your fish. Now, if you still have skin on your fish, you can leave it. It will kind of get stuck to the foil perhaps at the end, and then you'll be able to just lift your fish straight up. So I'm going to put these. I patted them dry. Do not rinse your fish, okay? If it has some scales, just kind of wipe it off with a paper towel. I dried it a little bit. I'm going to slide them over. I'm kind of looking, my foil is right here and here. So I want to kind of nest them. And I can even put them touching, that's fine. And if you have 4, you can put them a little closer together. And then we are not doing any salt because remember, we have a lot of salt in the the soy sauce. Even though I'm doing reduced, I want to make sure that it's on there. Then what you want to go ahead and do is pour this mixture right over the top. And it's just going to be this really thick little glaze. And because I'm only doing 3, I'm going to do about a tablespoon each. Now what you want to do is, because we have that little glaze, right, we're kind of keeping it in this little pocket. So bring up the 2 sides that the top foil is on, and you're going to fold it in down so the fish is encapsulated, and then but you're still open here and here. So then you're going to bring up these 2 sides, and that's going to really help hold the juice in, and you're going to lock that. So always roll your foil up and to the inside. Okay, and then that's gonna create like a little baking pocket. So this is gonna go in that 375 oven, probably 15 to 20. We'll check it, and then we're gonna finish it under the broiler. So I'm just going to cut it in half. It's about a teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm going to use a little bit more. I'm going to use about half of the lemon. Get my knife out of the way. Squeeze my lemon in there first. That way when I do see any seeds, I have 1, 2 seeds. I can go ahead and get those 2 seeds out. Okay, so it's just lemon juice and water, and that's going to be our steaming liquid for the broccoli, right? It's not submerged in the liquid, which is nice because we want the broccoli to be bright green. So you can see it's in the pot. I'm going to put it on the stove. I'm not going to turn it on yet, but it's all going to be ready to go when everything else comes out. So my 15-minute timer went off on my rice, so I want to check it. It's still on a low. Remember, open it up away, allow the steam. I should have the vent hood on, but you wouldn't be able to hear me. And what I want to do, again, I can see it's kind of the rice, or the rice has the little holes. The onion has kind of settled to the top. Turning it to the side, I can still see I have some liquid in there, okay? So I'm not going to stir it. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to put it back on for another 5 minutes. We'll check it again. So it's been 5 more minutes with that rice. So I'm going to check it one more time, go down the side, tip it. I have no water left, so I'm actually going to go ahead and just give it just a little bit of a fluff to kind of mix in the onion. And then I'm just going to move it to the back burner that's off. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my broccoli now and turn it on. Again, I'm going to bring it up to about a medium, which is a 6. And I can see 5 more minutes on my fish. We'll bring that out next while this is steaming. This is going to steam for about 10 to 15 minutes, again, depending on how tender or on the softer side you like. So probably 10 for me. I'm going to set that timer. My timer went off for the fish for the 15-minute. And I brought it out. I'm sticking it on a little hot plate. Remember, keep the oven mitts close. Very carefully, though, I'm going to unroll it, and we're going to check it. You know, we might need to put it back in for another 10 minutes or so. We are going to finish the fish under the broiler, so it gets really kind of that charred and that little stickiness from the honey and everything. But we still want it to be on the cooked side. So I'm going to open it up just a little bit, leave it in the foil, and I can see it's cooking. I think I'm going to go, you can see that, oh, it smells so good. I'm going to go 10 more minutes. So I'm going to go to the 25-minute side. I'm going to lock it up. I actually have smaller fish than what you guys are getting. These are 5-ounce portions, and you guys are getting 6. So you're going to probably want to go to that 20 to 25-minute side as well, depending on how many pieces. This is 3, and it's a little bit closer together. So let's go 10 more minutes. I'm also going to go. My 10-minute timer just went off on steaming the broccoli. Put the fish back in for another 10 minutes as well. So let's go ahead, and what I want to do is I'm going to take that broccoli, and you can see, let me grab a pair of tongs here. It's really nice, bright green. All my water and my lemon juice has evaporated, but I am going to go ahead and pour it into the sink, into a colander, because I want to use this pot to cook the garlic. So let me do that real quick. So I got any of those last minute juices out. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do, the pot's off, the heat's still off, but I'm going to turn it back on. I'm going to, on now a little bit more like a medium low, melt that butter, and then I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of garlic, and we're going to cook that garlic just enough till it's aromatic and the butter looks melted. Again, we don't want to burn it. We don't like burnt garlic, bitter flavor. The other thing I'm going to go ahead and add right now as well, just so I know it gets in the mixer, is some black pepper. So that's going to start to toast up. And a couple grinds of some fresh salt. Oh, it smells. And that's just butter and garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper. I do still have my other half of my lemon because I'm going to put that on the broccoli as soon as I get it into this garlic mixture. And again, just enough to cook it, and it smells so good. Let me grab the broccoli. Make sure all the water's off of it. Add it in. I'm going to turn my heat down. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn my heat off because, again, I don't want to cook my broccoli anymore. Just toss it in that butter and the garlic, and then hit it with some of that lemon juice right at the end. I'm going to save a little bit of that lemon for the fish. And that's it. Broccoli's ready. Rice is ready. I'm going to put the lid back on the broccoli. We still have 6 minutes left on our fish before we get to broil, but I can get everything cleaned up and get everything else ready to plate. Okay, I just pulled the fish out for the second time, and this time we're going to go ahead and we're going to check the internal temperature on it. Fish needs to reach a minimum of 145. I do tend to cook my salmon a little bit more, especially because we are going back. I turned the oven off and turned the broiler on, so it's preheating, and we're going to put the fish back in and just get, like I said before, that nice little char that's over the top. So, oh, this looks really good. It smells so good, and I may even baste the fish one more time. So again, remember, you have some thicker parts and thinner parts of the salmon. You want to go in to the thickest part of the salmon, and you want to check it. I'm already past 145. Remember, you want to keep it there for 15 seconds. Make sure it doesn't come down. I'm doing just fine. Stopped at 160. So we're over. Okay, gonna wash that. I do want to now, I want to take a little eating spoon because I do have some of this juice, and I want to just pour it kind of over the top, like I said, and baste it. I'm going to separate these if I can, just a little bit, because I want each individual piece. I'm still keeping this little edge of the foil up so that it can, sticking just a little bit, but so that I can make sure the juice stays in. Okay, so now what you want to do is still keep, you want to keep the foil open, but roll up those little edges so that they're not getting too close to the broiler. So just kind of roll, make sure you don't touch the pan. Roll them in, and you're making like a little bowl, but you're keeping the entire top of that salmon exposed, but keeping the bowl, again, so those juices stay in and are going to get really sticky. All right, So this isn't going to be a long process. This is going to go quick. So this is going to be maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And I'll come back and show you what the finished fish looks like. Just pulled that fish out of the oven. You can even see the liquid is still just bubbling hot. I love it when it gets sticky and gooey. It went just, again, depending on your broiler, mine went just a little bit longer than the 2 minutes. So we're gonna leave that there to rest. I have my rice done, my broccoli's done. I'm gonna go ahead, let's plate those up while that fish is just finishing. So, here we go. I'm gonna start with the rice first. That's a little warm. Go ahead, take it off. Oops. Okay. Another one. All right, let's do, I'm just gonna fluff it up just a little bit. You can still see it's pretty warm. And again, this is more than enough rice for 4 people, so you can do enough fish for everybody. So I like to put my rice, let's see how we want to do it. We're going to put the fish as a nice fillet. We can do it side by side. Let's put the rice. I like to serve my fish on top of my rice. So a little bit more in the middle. I have a nice little plate. Okay. Let's take the pot handle got warm. Bring the broccoli. Okay. I'm going to use my tongs. I'm just going to place my broccoli kind of all on the outside. A little bit in the middle. Let's do one more little piece right there. Okay. And then let's see if we can grab our fish. Now the fish is really flaky, so make sure you are grabbing it with a spatula, and just to make sure I don't drip, I'm going to use my tongs. I'm just going to lay my fish right over the middle of the plate. Oh, looks perfect. Then of course, if I had some fresh parsley, I would put it on there. I am going to give it just a little light lemon juice right on the top. And then just a little piece of lemon. There you go, guys. Rice pilaf, Asian baked salmon, and broccoli.